welcome to Let's Make It Vegan. I'm Chef Fred, and today I guess we're gonna start getting into our holiday cooking items. And today we're gonna start out with dessert, because the most important thing probably in all your holiday cooking is gonna be the dessert. And we're gonna tackle pecan pie. And if you're a movie buff from about 30 years ago, it would be pecan pie. Hopefully you're familiar with that, or I'm going to sound like an idiot, but I'm sure you are. So what we're going to do today is work on a pecan pie, and this is somewhat, it would fall into a no-bake pecan pie, but there is some cooking yet involved. The pie itself isn't going to be going into the oven, and I'll get into that. Let me explain to you what we're going to do. I've got a couple of pie shells that I just blind baked, which is basically just cooking the pie shell. These are commercial bought at your local superstore, regular old pie shells that just happen to be vegan. No animal products, no lard, anything like that. Ready to go, very cheap, easy. That's what we're going to be putting the pie filling in and be ready to go. As far as the main ingredient of this pecan pie, it is going to be dates. And if you're familiar with some vegan cooking, you know that date paste is an ingredient that is used fairly often as a sweetener, as a sugar substitute, and it's a very healthy kind of sugar. It has a lot of vitamins, minerals, iron, and fiber. So as a sugar, yes, it's sweet naturally, but it does also have a good bit of nutrient content in it. So it is going to give something in addition to just your straight sugar. These guys, this was two 10-ounce containers of dates that I soaked overnight. Put them in this container so you could basically see it. But these had soaked overnight. They're pretty soft, very pliable, and just ready to get blended up. And that's going to get blended up into, like I said, a date paste. Along with that, we are going to add, and luckily I was able to find this locally here, it's a sweetened condensed coconut milk. Previously, when I've done this recipe, I haven't used the coconut milk, but a lot of times what I do when I'm creating the vegan version of a recipe, I look at the traditional version of how that is made and then basically how to mimic it. Regular pecan pie that people are used to making does contain sweetened condensed milk, which makes the filling part a bit creamier and a little more palatable and creamy. Also with that, I was also able to discover in our local main grocery store here in Florida that is open to the public, so you know what I mean, coconut syrup. This stuff is great. It is sold right along with your maple syrups and things like that. I was thinking about using some maple syrup, but I found this and used a little bit of it previously, and this stuff is really, really tasty. It's kind of caramely and vanilla-y, so it's got a really nice flavor that as soon as I tasted it, I was like, okay, I gotta use this in the pies. So we got this coconut sugar, and this is, or coconut syrup. And basically, just to let you know what coconut syrup is, if you're familiar with maple syrup and how that comes about, it's the drippings from the inside of a maple tree. They tap the trunk, take the drippings. This is actually very, very similar. They cut off the top bud kind of thing from a coconut tree and allow the drippings to come out, reduce it down a little bit into a syrup, and that's how we get this coconut syrup. Really, really tasty, very healthy, not processed. So I'm not using any kind of processed sugars in here other than what's in the coconut milk, sweetened, condensed, whatever sugars are in there. And you don't need this, but I think it's going to actually help. So that's basically what we've got as far as going into the pie innards. Now, one of the things that we are going to do is once this gets ground up in our high-speed blender, I am going to add cornstarch. What the cornstarch is going to do is, once we get this stuff ground up into more of a liquid, we're going to put it on the stove and kind of get it heated and cooked through. If all we did was take these items here, grind them up, we'd have a really, really tasty syrupy goo that is going to very much taste like your base for your pecan pie. But what we need to do is make it so that when it chills, it becomes more of a solid and cuts, holds its shape. That's what the cornstarch is going to do. So we are going to add the cornstarch, and in order to activate the cornstarch, we are going to have to bring it up to at least a simmer. There's a certain temperature that cornstarch needs to get and maintain in order to activate the solidifying power of it. So that's why all this stuff is then going to go on the stove and get heated through, so that when it cools, it holds together. Everyone's familiar with, if you're used to gravy, as far as when you were, growing up or now, you put gravy in the refrigerator and all of a sudden it becomes a solid. That's basically the concept here, that, it's going to be a liquid when it's hot. When it chills, it's going to be more of a solid. So that's where we're at. And of course, we got our pecans. These guys are a raw pecan. So before we place these on top, I am going to go ahead and put these in the oven at 350, 375 or so, and not necessarily toast them, but just get them cooked through. It might only take 5-6 minutes in the oven to do that, but that's also going to simulate what would happen normally on a cooked pecan pie. Being that these things are raw, they're a little softer and chewy, but I do want them to become a little more crunchy and simulate more like you would actually get on a pie. So we will get these toasted up in the oven. So what I'm going to do at this point is go ahead and get these guys into our high-speed blender and get them ground up, and I'll bring that back over here and you can join me as we add ingredients to this and come up with a consistency that's going to work so that we can get it on the stove. So going to take a break, get these in here, and meet you right back here in about 2 minutes. Okay, here we are. We've got everything blitzed up in our blender. Something I do want to tell you, and I had planned on kind of doing this whole thing in front of the camera, but I did discover something that threw things off a little bit, and just to give you a heads up so it doesn't happen to you, you might want to actually go ahead and check your dates for pits, because there apparently was one left in here. So once they're soaked, you may want to just kind of leaf through there a little bit, make sure that all the pits are out, because I put this in here and started grinding up, and there was definitely a pit running around in there that I had to go searching for, which kind of threw everything off, and we threw out that part of the video because it was pretty funny actually. But so we've got it back here now. As far as everything that's in here, are 2 10-ounce containers of dates that were soaked overnight in its juice. All the juice that was in there, as far as the soaking water, is in there also, because we needed that kind of moisture in order to get these ground up. That full 1 can of the sweetened condensed coconut milk is in here, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, and a half cup of the coconut syrup, which we went over. So that's all in here, And this is all basically been blitzed up, ready to go. As you can see, it's a nice liquid, and we're gonna go ahead and get that in our pan, warmed up, warmed through in order to activate the cornstarch. Once we get that done, we'll come back, we'll get this in our pie shells, we'll have our pecans toasted, ready to go, and we'll be ready to get it going. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay guys, here we are. We had our date mixture on the stove, and you can see that's definitely thickened up. I just basically got it up to a simmer on like a medium low, kept stirring, and like I said, all you want to do is get this up to a simmer for a couple of minutes in order to activate the cornstarch in here. We've got our pecans here that I toasted for about 6-7 minutes at 350, just to get them cooked so where they're not soft, where they are crunchy now. So those guys are here ready to go. I did make enough for 2 pies. I'm just going to basically show you getting the stuff in here, putting some pecans on here, and after that we just got to chill this thing and we're ready to go. So let me get some of our pecan pie mixture in here, and as you can see, it's nice and thick and creamy. And let's see how we are there. I want to make sure we have enough for both. Looks like we got a pretty good quantity there. Not too bad. And we'll take our pecans and just get them all lined up on the top of here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I kind of want it to be a little bit pretty. And hopefully I got enough toasted up here to be nice. And like I said, this is a great pecan pie recipe idea that, whether you're vegan or not, is definitely an easy and quick way to go without getting too involved with a lot of baking and prep. And once these guys chill, we're gonna end up with a nice solid pie, and we'll come back and show you once these guys chill for a couple of hours. And speaking of, this is a great way to, you know, make a pecan pie, whether it's vegan or not. I do want to point out the stuff that I'm doing on these videos. Yes, it's, you know, promoting a vegan way to do things, but not only that, these are ideas of just different ways to go about some of your cooking. You know, it's not necessarily about, you know, promoting being vegan, but it is promoting different ideas and possibly healthier ways of cooking some of the things that you're used to and that you love, but bringing in a little more as far as reducing fat, reducing cholesterol, bringing more vitamins in. The way that we did this pie is not only a great sweet and a great way to have a dessert, but it's also full of nutrients and fiber and non-processed sugars. So whether you're vegan or not, and this has to do with all of the stuff that I'm sharing on these videos from Let's Make It Vegan. It's not only let's make it vegan, it's, you know, let's think about things a little bit differently that not only may be healthier, but help the planet and promote, you know, a little safer way to do things from the standpoint of health and from the standpoint of ways to take care of the planet. You know, these things are important to everybody. It's not just vegans. I know a lot of people are trying to, you know, cut down on their saturated fat and things like that. So all of the kind of stuff I'm doing are just helping you think about a better way to do things from a lot of standpoints whether you're looking to do it vegan or just maybe do it healthier or just do it differently, such as, this pie. That's the kind of things that I'm trying to promote. So whether you're vegan or not, these are some ideas of different ways of looking at things. So we've got this guy here. We're going to get them chilled up. We'll come back, get these guys sliced up into pieces, and give it a try. Join me in a couple hours. Thanks. Okay guys, here we are. We are complete with our pecan pie, and as you can see, it came out 100% like a pecan pie. It's because it is. It's just made with some ingredients that you might not be familiar with. As you can see, it's solid, it's cuttable, it holds up by using the cornstarch in there and allowing that to, get it solidified and set. You're ready to go. Let me give a taste here and see what we got. Oh yeah, nice and gooey. Oh my God. Good and chilled. Pecans, good crunch to them. I like it. Hopefully you do too. Once again, pecan pie, unfamiliar ingredients, same taste, but better nutrition, easier to do. I want to thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when the next video comes out. And we're doing a couple a week. And as I always say, send me your suggestions on the kind of things that you want to see. Coming up here till the holidays, we are going to be trying to work on some holiday things. We started with dessert. Let's see the kind of things that that you want to see coming up for the holidays. Once again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Have a great day. Thanks.